A very warm welcome to StudyIQ, my dear friends. I am PMvani. This is the English version of the Hindu analysis. The Hindi version is already available on our channel. Today is 16th December 2020. I would like to start today's discussion with this quote. Our most valuable resources, creativity, communication, invention, and reinvention are in fact unlimited. Our potential is unlimited. The more you use it, the more you will find it. Think about it, and not just think about it, act on it as well. If you know your strong area, then I reckon you to work on it, to explore it, to discover it as much as you can. The more you will explore and discover it, the more you will find it. With this, dear friends, we have winter session matters on our table. This one is from Hindustan Times. We have three articles from the Hindu newspaper, Vaccine Drive, Digital Bharat, Law and Order. This one is about Supreme Court. And the last one is also interesting. This one is from Indian Express. And this one is about e-waste. The big, threat of e-waste, why it is harmful. And we are going to go through some interesting facts associated with e-waste. Big Christmas sale is on. Massive discount is available on all our smart courses. This is valid till 25th December only. To find out more about it, all you have to do is download our mobile application. Dear friends, let's start our discussion with why the winter session matters. This one is from Hindustan Times. Now, we all know that this COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted our lives as well as our livelihoods. India's most important democratic institution, that is the parliament of our country, is also disrupted. There was no winter session this year due to COVID-19. Now, this decision of not holding a winter session is very dangerous. This is going to create huge amount of loss. We are going to talk about it, why it is going to create huge amount of loss and why it is dangerous. Remember the last budget session? Budget session of 2020 was prorogued earlier than scheduled because of this COVID-19. We were not that much sure about COVID-19 at that point of time. It was a very novel virus, you can say. That's why it was known as, in fact, we used to call it novel coronavirus because it was very new. Very little was known about this disease called COVID-19. But now we know so many things about COVID-19. In fact, the last monsoon session was also shortened, and this next session of our parliament, the winter session, is cancelled. So the next session of our parliament will be the budget session in 2021. Now, we all know that the name itself indicates that budget session is all about budget. So the main focus in the upcoming session of the parliament will be on budget itself. So this is dangerous. The reason is that farm movement. Farmers are protesting in various different parts of our country, and we have gone through the main core reason behind this thing. It is not just the things that you find in the bill. It is not just the things that you find in the new law or the farm bills or the farm laws. The most core reason behind this protest is because this particular bill or bills were not discussed thoroughly in the parliament. It was quickly passed in the Lok Sabha, in Rajya Sabha. It was passed using voice vote, and there was no discussion at all. And we are talking about a bill that directly affects 50% plus population of our country. The main reason why the thorough discussion did not took place on this thing is because of a very short period, a very short monsoon session of parliament. Management of the pandemic, how our country is dealing with it, how we are managing this pandemic. We need latest updates, what we have done, our mistakes, our strength, our weaknesses, our opportunities, our threats. We need a thorough SWOT analysis of this pandemic management. This will only be possible if we have a proper session. Center-state relations remain fragile. Many states are not happy with central government. So what we are doing about it, we need to know. We need to discuss this thing in the parliament because it is about our federalism. How we are going to distribute vaccine. Of course, the government has launched a distribution policy, vaccine distribution policy. But we need a thorough discussion on this thing as well. What's going on with LSC, this China versus India standoff issue, right? It's been going on since more than 6 months now. What is our game plan? How we are going to, what is our plan to handle this issue? And there are so many questions that the world as well as our country and the citizens needs to know. Economy is still not out of the woods. So I don't think so. We will discuss all these things in the upcoming session, that is the budget session of 2021. So we will see, maybe we will see protests, maybe we will see many disruption, and it's going to be a huge loss, not in terms of money, but in terms of quality as well, as far as our democracy and country is concerned. The other side is offices are running nearly, at normal capacity. We had Bihar election as well. We are conducting bypolls, and just look around your city, look around your village, look around your town. Things are nearly there, back to normal. We are not that far from back to normal now. So why we need to cancel this session of winter session of Parliament? Of course, I do understand that the lives of our parliamentarians and MPs, the lives are important, of course. But we have so many other ways as well. You can have, let's say, out of 545, or you can have 20% MPs physically present in the parliament. They can maintain good social distancing, and the rest of them, or maybe you can have 50 or 100 parliamentarians physically present in the parliament, and the rest of them can join via video conference. It's not that difficult in today's age to conduct a sort of mix of both, the offline as well as offline session, online and offline session of parliament. It is not that difficult. It is not impossible. I think government should look into it, because many important topics are pending. We need to know. It is our right as well to know a thorough analysis of what's going on with these important things. With this, dear friends, if you want to download the PDF of today's lecture, join my Telegram channel. You can follow me on Facebook as well. Hit the like button if you learned something from today's discussion. Don't forget to share this lecture with other students, and please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, A Vaccine Drive. Now, we know it very well that when it comes to our country, when it comes to our people, right, we are very good in creating theories. We are very good in drafting policies. But an area in which we are weak is implementation. If we go through our rule books, if we go through our policies, then we are one of the best in the world. But when it comes to implementation, there is a big gap. Of course, I'm not saying that we should hit a perfection mark every time, and that is not possible. Even in developed nations as well, you will find there is always a gap. If you have set a target of, let's say, 90%, then you will reach somewhere around, in developed countries, right, 85 or 80%. But in our country, we are a bit far. The gap is bit huge when it comes to theory and in its implementation. And we don't want to see the thing with COVID-19 vaccine distribution. There is no cure as of today when it comes to COVID-19. We have a vaccine. Now, there is a difference between a medicine and a vaccine. Medicine is like when you get a fever, you take a medicine and then your body repairs, your body fights. That medication will help you to fight with that particular fever. So that is a medicine. Vaccine is something that you take in advance. So in case if you come in contact with COVID-19 virus, then your body will fight with it and it will protect you. So one is reactive, one is proactive. So vaccine is proactive, and vaccine is the only way we know to handle this COVID-19, right? Scientists are looking for a cure, a medicine for COVID-19 vaccine, COVID-19 disease, but we have only vaccine as of now. So this is the best shot that we have. UK and US, they have started, they have rolled out this vaccination program. And in our country as well, the government of India came out with this strategy. First of all, we are going to inoculate, or we are going to vaccinate healthcare workers and corona warriors, police and other defense personnel. And we are also going to take on board those people who are above 50, and those above 60 will be given priority. So in first phase, the government of India is planning to target 30 crore people. Voters ID or voter ID is going to be the document, verifying document that will be used. I'm sure, if not now, then I'm sure in near future you will see people from your local administration. They will visit your home. They will ask you about your family members who are above 50. They will take their names and they will ask you for their voter ID. You have to give their voter ID. They will verify it, and then government is going to come out with a sort of appointment system. Government has designed a new digital platform called CoWIN. CoWIN will be used for COVID-19 vaccination delivery, and about 1.54 lakh auxiliary nurse midwives working on universal immunization programs will be roped in as vaccinators, with more such field staff to be mobilized in collaboration with the states. So this is the big plan, using this CoWIN, collecting data, feeding into this CoWIN, issuing appointments, and then people will go to the nearest booth and they will get their vaccination. Government is also working on upgrading or strengthening this cold chain system, because there are various different vaccines. You have to store it, like for example Pfizer, you have to store it at minus 70 degrees Celsius temperature. So government is working on these things as well. So far things are good. One thing that government should seriously consider is vaccine hesitancy. I'll give you an example of polio in Pakistan. Now we know that India has eliminated polio, but there are a few countries like Nigeria, you have Afghanistan, you have Pakistan, and maybe some other countries where you find polio even today. Now, a few years ago, I was going through this documentary from, I think it was from BBC or Al Jazeera. I'm not sure about the source, but I think it was, yes, Al Jazeera's documentary. It was about polio in Pakistan. And the reason why even today so many kids are suffering from polio disease in Pakistan is not because of lack of vaccine. It is because of vaccine hesitancy. And this hesitancy has been created by so many non-medical people. What they say to their family members is that, they say to young couples that this vaccine drive is to destroy the reproductive system of your kids. So in future, when your kids will be adult, they won't be able to reproduce, and that's what the main game plan is of the Western world. So they are trying to destroy you by this vaccine. So this sort of misinformation is catered by this non-medical people, and some stupid people are unfortunately they are having a very good hold on poor people. And because of this thing, there are so many good people in Pakistan. They are trying to vaccinate kids, but they are finding this vaccine hesitancy, and because of this thing Pakistan is suffering, or people or youngsters of Pakistan, they are suffering from this polio disease. And so many medical staff, right, there are so many of them, they are being killed by terrorist organizations and this sort of organizations. They kill these people because they are doing their duty, or they are doing their job. They're trying to save these kids from polio, but they are being shot at point blank range. So this is a sort of very extreme example of vaccine hesitancy. And in our country as well, these days, this information or misinformation is doing the rounds. Many people are saying that I'm not going to let my parents have this vaccine because I'm not sure about the safety. There are people who are saying that I'm not going to allow my elderly loved ones to have this vaccine because they may have some sort of side effect. So the only solution to this problem is to fight misinformation with right factual information. Whatever the result is of these trials, It should be out in a good, easy to understand manner. We need to use very simple language so that each and everyone, in regional languages as well, we need to provide this information. When I say we, I'm talking about government, should provide this information so that people know, people can take an educated, a well-informed decision about this vaccine and vaccine program. So this is like a soft side of vaccine distribution program. Government should take it very seriously, or else we won't be able to beat this COVID-19. And we need to do it as quickly as possible, because early on as well we have discussed this thing that it is not just a fight against COVID-19, we are also fighting against time. We don't want to see this COVID-19 vaccine distribution stretch for nearly 2, 3, 4, 5 years. It's going to destroy our life. It's going to create a very big scar as far as our livelihood and our lives are concerned. So we need to do it as quickly as possible. Now, moving on to PMvani, Prime Minister's Wi-Fi Access Network Interface. We have talked about this topic early on as well. I gave you example of STD-PCO, remember? So I'm not going into all those details. If today is your first day, then I would reckon you guys to check out my previous videos of last week, and you will come across this topic, PMvani. I've talked about the good things about PMvani. In this article is saying that from a digital India to a digital Bharat. Now remember, here digital India means urban India. Digital Bharat means rural India. And this PMvani that was announced on 9th December can of course act as a game changer as far as digitizing our rural India is concerned. Now we have this PDOAs and PDOs. So what PDOAs will do and what PDOs will do, I will explain it to you in a minute. But let's go through some data. Niti Aayog Chief Executive Officer had said that India can create $1 trillion of economic value using digital technology by 2025. TRAI data says that 54% of India's population has access to the internet. The 75th round of NSSO survey says that only 20% of population has ability to use internet. When it comes to ability to use internet, only 20% knows how to use it. And India Internet 2019 report shows that rural India has half the internet penetration as urban and twice as many users who access the internet less than once a week. So this four facts are easy enough to understand, and the bottom line is that we have a huge amount of potential in terms of economy, in terms of rural India. There is a huge potential of this internet penetration. It will add so many things. Umang app. You might have heard about Umang. So Umang app is an app on which you can get 2,000 plus government services on one app. And I'm sure many of us are not using Umang app. And there are so many people, they are still doing the rounds of government offices for various different services. So you can do it just on Umang app. But because we have lack of or deficit, we are deficit in digital literacy, because of that thing people are not using it. But the more penetration will take place, if internet will be accessible, then people will use it. You can use it for telemedicine and healthcare, and for agriculture information, weather updates, and so many other things. Going back to India Internet report, it shows that 99% of users in India access the internet on mobile, and 88% are connected on 4G network. So if 99% users, not 99% population, 99% users are using via mobile phone, if they are accessing internet through a limited network, then this limited network is going to face huge amount of overload. It's going to affect internet speed as well as quality of internet access. So PMvani can be a solution. This PDO, that is Public Data Office. So if you have a chai stall or a cafe or a pawn shop or a small retail outlet, then you can become a PDO. You don't have to register. You don't need that permissions and things. There is just a small online registration and that's it. Right? You can generate revenue as well. And they are saying that the government is saying that people will be able to access internet using 2 rupees and 5 rupees. You pay 5 rupees and let's say you can use Wi-Fi for 10 minutes, for example, right? This is just a rough example. So 10 rupees is affordable thing, 5 rupees, 10 rupees, 2 rupees is affordable thing, and people can connect to your hotspot. They can use internet. They will get, let's say, pay 5 rupees and they get 10 rupees, 10 minutes. So after 10 minutes, their session will end. It's like, early on we used to go to cyber cafe. We used to have sessions. So we can create those sort of sessions, and this PDOAs, what this PDOAs will do, they will buy bandwidth from internet service providers. This PDOAs will provide this bandwidth to PDOs, and PDOs using this app providers, they will create, app providers will create apps about connectivity and things, and money transfer and everything, and then this is how the whole chain will be created. So ISPs will provide, PDOAs will buy internet from ISPs, and then PDOAs will provide it to PDOs, and you can use it at PDOs, and that's how we can access internet. So it's a good plan, it's not a bad plan at all. And BharatNet, remember the BharatNet project? The main lakshya, or the main aim, was to provide broadband connectivity in all villages in our country. Now this BharatNet has missed many deadlines, and even in places where BharatNet is available, you find connectivity and other sort of issues. So this is going on with BharatNet. So this PMvani can change that. You don't need to rely on BharatNet. You can have this PDO in your village, and if there is no PDO, then you can create PDO, and people will come to you. So you can make a little bit of money as well. You will not become extraordinary rich, but at least if you are a retail store, then at the end of the month, if you are earning 2,000 or maybe 1,000 or 3,000 rupees, then that's going to be add on, isn't it, to whatever you are earning from your core business. The main concern here is security and privacy. As a large-scale study was conducted on 15 airports, Germany, Australia, India, US, and it was discovered that 2/3 of users leaked private information while accessing the internet. So we don't need this sort of situation. One thing that India needs to work on immediately is to have a proper, robust data protection law. We don't have a data protection law in our country. And if we can sort out all these things, if we can educate people about internet, if we can if internet is accessible, if people are literate about internet, and if we provide good services on the internet, government services and things, then yes, it can be a game changer for our Grameen or rural India. That is, we can convert our rural India into a digital Bharat. Then we have one interesting article about law and order. It's about Supreme Court and judicial system. Now, there is a series on Netflix, The Crown. It's about this royalty of England. So in this series, there is, in this article, they say that, the Queen Elizabeth II, she asks the Prime Minister, Harold Wilson, like, why public have a bad or negative perception about the royalty? She says that royalty is composed of normal people leading normal lives and doing normal jobs. But Wilson, Prime Minister Wilson, says that people don't expect the royalty to be normal. They want you to be ideal. The Queen says that nobody is ideal. Same thing happens with our Supreme Court as well. People of our country, we see Supreme Court as an ideal court. To an extent, it should behave in an ideal way as well. It should, exercise everything in an ideal way, because it is the Everest as far as our judiciary is concerned. These days, we find that even a small petty case is also reaching the highest peak, that is the Supreme Court. All of us wants to knock the doors of, generally speaking, we want to knock the door of Supreme Court when it comes to a thing that is troubling us. Now, very few people are aware about this fact that we have a Legal Services Authority Act of 1987, and under this law, all women, irrespective of their financial status, are entitled to free legal aid. Scheduled castes and scheduled tribes and children too are entitled to free legal aid. But here we find a big gap of theory and implementation. We have a law, but we don't have its implementation at all, you can say. In UK, there are so many independent solicitors, they get funds from UK government, and these solicitors, they are supposed to provide, and they do provide, invaluable services to people who cannot afford legal services. So it is working well over there, but we have a law, but we are not working on it. The other problem is judges and population ratio. In US, they have 100 judges per million population. In Canada, they have 75. UK, they have 50. In our country, we have 19 judges, and out of that, 1/4. You can say out of 20 judges, 5 judges or 5 seats are vacant. So we have literally 15 judges or 14 judges per million population. The Supreme Court, in a particular case, has ordered the Government of India, in this All India Judges Association versus Union of India 2001 case, that in next 5 years there should be at least 50 per million population ratio. Judges population ratio should be 50 per million in next 5 years. But it's 2020, it's been nearly 19 years, still this thing has not been implemented. Access to justice is part of our fundamental right. This has been said by Supreme Court in Anita Kushwaha versus Pushpa Sadan 2016 case. But still, access to justice is not taken that seriously. It's very ironical. It's a paradox that a judgment that was based on the concept of speedy justice was delivered. The case that was going on in 2008 to 2014, the result was delivered in 2016. So you can imagine how slow we are. And there are so many pending cases in the lower tier of judiciary. In sessions courts, there are crores of cases are pending over there. And when it comes to judiciary, our main focus is, there is a disproportionate amount of attention is given to Supreme Court and then High Court, but we hardly pay attention to lower courts. So if we want to improve the system, we need to focus on lower courts. So that's the bottom line of this article. Moving on to next topic. This one is from Indian Express. Not many newspapers have covered this particular topic, but it is a very, very important topic. It is a growing problem, silently growing problem, and in future it's going to be a big issue for us. And this is about recycling e-waste or e-waste management and disposal. There are so many gadgets that we use, and every few years we get rid of these gadgets and we buy new ones, isn't it? And e-waste is also responsible. There is a practice of burning e-waste in our country, and this is also adding PM10 and PM2.5 in the environment. So many devices will become incompatible with the rollout of 5G. All the devices that we are using these days, our smartphones, right? They are going to be incompatible with 5G. So we have to buy new phones. So what will happen with this old phones and old gadgets? We are not recycling all these electronic products in our country. We have some shocking data on our table today. I'm going to take you through it. While recycling is one of the substantial solution to manage e-waste, adequate emphasis should be placed on reducing and reusing before recycling. We are living in a culture where, the life of electronic product is 1 year, 2 year, 3 years max. So what do we do after 3 years? We just chuck that thing in the bin and then we buy a new one. What we need those computers. Let's say if you are using a computer, right? I'm not sure whether this can be used for every product, but at least we should try. We are using a computer, then we should design our computer hardware in such a way that if you want to upgrade its motherboard, its disk, hard disk and other things, then you should be able to upgrade it so that you don't have to change your whole computer. You have to change some parts. So by doing this, we would be able to reduce e-waste. If the gadgets aren't handled properly, they can lead to organ damage, neurological damage and severe illness as well. E-waste also discharges lethal gases in the air. So many people, they are suffering from so many diseases, and most of this recycling, not recycling, but I would say e-waste goes to informal sector. Now, this is ironical as well. E-waste policy does not consider the activities of the informal sector as legal, but the supply of e-waste attracts 5% GST. It's like drugs are illegal, but then government is collecting 5% GST on drugs. It's similar situation here, that e-waste policy does not consider the activities of informal sector as legal, but the government is collecting 5% GST on this thing. So this is very ironical, isn't it? And this is a very shocking fact that India treats less than 1% of its e-waste formally. 99% plus is done by informal sector, and we are creating huge amount of damage to our environment as well as people who are working in informal sector. So we need to sort this thing out as quickly as possible, or in future it's going to be a huge problem. These are some news items. Download the PDF and go through it. This one is important one. Dark Pay, launched by Postal Department. And big Christmas sale, make the most out of it. 25th December is the last date for this offer. I will see you soon with daily financial news analysis. Dear friends, enjoy your studies. God bless you all. Jai Hind.